I don't know much, but there's no weight at all. And I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. 'Cause if I say I miss you, I know that you won't. But I miss you in the mornings when I see the sun. Something.
Well, hello everyone. I just wanted to take a little minute to look out at all your fabulous faces to see you all gathered together. My name is Pauline Haycock, and it is my privilege to be officiating for Joyce today. But before the family comes to join us, I have a couple of announcements, and the first is, please, if you have a cell phone, would you turn off your ringer for the duration of the service? Refreshments are going to be served here in the tea room immediately following the service, so make sure you stay, gather. I hear a lot of friendly chatter. There'll be more out there, I know. And then, of course, you're invited to Tim and Michelle's after the gathering here in the tea room. So if you don't know how to get there, Michelle said just follow the lineup of traffic. You'll make your way to Pouce and find your way where you need to be. But you can certainly track down somebody to give you directions. So at this time, I'd like to ask you to please rise as the family comes to join us.
When I get where I'm going, on the far side of the sky, the first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside a lion and run my fingers through his mane, or I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. I'm gonna walk with my granddaddy, and he'll match me step for step, and I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left, and then I'll hug his neck. Yeah, when I get where I'm going.
Would you please pray with me? Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this lovely gathering of family and friends who have come to say goodbye and to honor Joyce. So Lord, I just ask that the words spoken here today would be a comfort and an encouragement to her family. We just thank you for Joyce, for the little spitfire that she was, Lord, and the joy that she brought to so many. We just thank you for this time. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, on behalf of the family up here, I want to thank the family back there for getting here today. Whether you've come from near or far, your presence is going to be just so appreciated throughout the day. So thank you for coming and being a part of today's service. Well, today, as we have gathered together to celebrate the life of Mary Joyce Doonan, it is with mixed emotions. Sadness for the loss of a mother, grandma, sister, friend, and neighbor, auntie, but a measure of relief that she isn't suffering in the hospital. And it's also important to note that we are grateful for having been a part of her life and her having been a part of ours. It is safe to say that each one of you here has been influenced by Joyce in some way. You've had the opportunity to hear her laugh, or maybe you shared in some of her homemade chocolate cake made with coffee, or you've gained some gardening wisdom from spending time with her. But it is you, her children and grandchildren, that are going to have the biggest adjustment to make now that Joyce is gone. Just listen to this tribute from granddaughter Karen. My grandma was my best friend. I'm going to miss our talks. Family, I'm very sorry for your loss, as Joyce was a valued and loved part of your family and of her community. Now, I had a lot of fun when I met with Donna, Tim, and Michelle to talk about Joyce and to plan today's service. I learned very quickly that Joyce was the real deal. She didn't pretend to be someone she wasn't. The public Joyce was the same person that she was at home with her family. And we spent a lot of time laughing and reminiscing. And I realized when her family walked out the funeral home doors that day, that little tiny Joyce had made a huge impact where it mattered most, within the lives of her own children and grandchildren. So in 50 words or less, this is how they described Joyce. Joyce Doonan was a hardworking, family-oriented woman who was a master gardener, preserving the food she grew. She was also a gun-toting protector of said garden, who would gladly pick off any deer or rodent who attempted to snack on her bounty. And though she could swear like a truck driver, she was intelligent, having graduated grade 12, which was quite a feat for someone of her generation, and a voracious reader with a kind heart that championed fairness in life. Joyce was a spitfire her whole life long, and there was never a dull moment with her around. I think this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson is perfect for Joyce. Who you are speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you're saying. She really was the real deal, just how she presented herself as who she was. And after all that they told me, I realized that Joyce was a force to be reckoned with. And let me tell you, I can't wait to hear the eulogy and then to see the slideshow later on in the service. And speaking of the slideshow, one of my favorite pictures that my family has of Joyce, it's one that my mom had, and it is the quintessential 1950s black and white photo of 3 teenage girls laying on a bed, laughing and enjoying each other's company. It's a real treat. I just love looking at that picture. Whenever I see it, I am reminded of a wise little poem that all adult children should read. And I'm going to share it with you. Mother, you were just a girl so many years ago. You had your loves and had your dreams. You watched us come and go. You watched us make the same mistakes that you had made before, but that just made you hold us tight and love us all the more. We haven't always thought about the things that you have seen. To us, you've just been mother, no thought of who you've been. But we remember now and love your life from start to end, and we're glad, just glad we knew you as mother and as friend. There's a great quote from Downton Abbey episode that says, "The business of life is the acquisition of memories. In the end, that's all there is." So I'm going to invite Michelle Doonan to come and share the family's memories of Joyce.
Mary Joyce Doonan, was born July 4th, 1939 in Merritt, BC. It took me a bit to figure out her real name was Mary Joyce. I was receiving bills in her post office box in Pouce for an M.J. Doonan and asked him who M.J. Doonan was. After he told me it was his mother, I was pretty sure she wasn't going to, tell us we owed her, she'd let us pay her bills for her. Joyce was the only daughter of 4 to Ernest and Ethel Manette. She had an older brother, Jack, and 2 younger brothers, Jim and Gary. She adored her brothers. Before her dad went to war, they moved to Maple Creek, Saskatchewan, so her mother could be closer to family. They caught a train in 1947 to Dawson Creek, where she said it was so cold and there was no heat in the boarding house, so they spent 4 hours in the movie theater to stay warm. When they were living on Potts Farm out by Rolla, she caught polio. Her mother took her by train to the Shriners Hospital in Seattle, Washington for treatments. She had side effects from the disease for the rest of her life. They moved often, and Joyce once told me she changed schools 3 times in 1 year and swore her children would never live like that. She grew up down the road from Granddad Doonan's farm and met the Doonans along the way. She moved out at 15 as there wasn't room at home with the boys. Her and Aunt Doris lived together, worked together, and might have partied a bit together. She knew Glenn and got to know him better. They were married in 1959. Donna came in 1960, Rose in 62, Joel in 64, and Tim in 1965. They moved many times from Easto River to Pouce, Dawson, back to Pouce, back to Dawson, Hudson Hope, and finally to Pouce, where Tim and I convinced them to move closer as Glenn was sick and Dr. Doonan was struggling to keep up with his care. But trust me, there was no telling Dr. Doonan what to do. She knew better than any doctor and diagnosed herself many, many times. Joyce lived in Trombley House for 17 years. She was a secretary for a few years for the society that ran it, but most important job was warden. That's what we called her. She loved to walk the halls and try and tell the other residents how things should be and what she expected from them. We all told her that you're a resident too, and you don't get to tell people how things should be. A big thank you to Corey, I'm not sure where she is, for all the help you gave her when we were uptown. You helped ease her mind, as she didn't like it when Tim and I were gone. To Lorna, for always checking on her every day, gave us a break. And I know for a fact that she had a special place in her heart for Hank and Trudy. Joyce's favorite things in the world were horses, dogs, and pretty much any animals. One time Jordan had found a baby bird outside our store that the mother had rejected. We didn't know what to do with it, so we phoned Joyce. She told Jordan to bring the baby bird over. She nursed that baby till it grew, flew away, and she swore it came back every year to see her. I don't know. She was an amazing gardener. No matter where they lived, she had a huge garden and could grow anything. In 2003, Tim and I had been seeing each other for a few months. He said he wanted to introduce me to his parents, so we drove out to Hudson Hope. Tim says to me, "There's something you should know. My mother swears like a truck driver." Well, I learned fast that he was not exaggerating. Trust me, I believe a few of us have developed the same trait, compliments of her. Tim told me a story once about doing a job in Chetwynd, and they had to wait a few hours between painting these walls. He phoned his mom, and she said to come for lunch. He asked her very nicely not to swear, as the fella he was with was religious. Yep, no problem. Tim said she cooked a big meal, everything was great, until she saw a deer in her garden. Well, she grabbed the pump-action pellet gun, and as she was pumping, she started swearing, and this is the PG version, "You dirty, rotten, white-ass SOB." Then she proceeded to shoot it right in the ass from 100 yards. And Tim said it was time to go. When I first met them that day, she asked me if I was the one who had the premature twins, and I told her yes. From that day on, she graciously accepted me and my 4 children into their family like we were their own. Joyce and I traveled a lot together, starting in 2011 when Jill had her first of 7 eye surgeries in Edmonton, where we stayed at Derek and Chelsea's. She was with me through them all. In 2014, we took her with us and the whole family to Mexico before 4 kids in our family graduated from high school. Then came a trip with her and Donna to Main Island the following July to pick Jill up from a friend's. I had booked a trip back in February by Stanley Park, not knowing that it was going to be the celebration of lights when we were there. Joyce thought it was the coolest thing, and I warned her and Donna not to lose my 100-pound blind daughter and 100,000 people, okay? Same trip, we booked a float plane ride to get Jill, and as we boarded the plane, Donna and I gave Joyce the front seat beside the pilot. The pilot ended up being Bob Bates, who was married to one of Joyce's nieces on the Doonan side. We just figured it was a pretty small world. Numerous other trips where Joel and Tim bought her and Donna a trip for Alaska cruise. We also went to Salt Spring Island, and the stubborn lady didn't tell me she fell the day before and ripped open her leg. Still wanted to go. She tore it so badly that she had bandages changed weekly at the health unit for 3 months. Dr. Doonan tried to tell us she was okay and possibly might have to have her leg amputated. She liked to exaggerate a bit. There was a houseboat trip she took with us in Disneyland as well. One particular trip that stands out was when I took her and the 5 kids to Parksville for Derek and Chelsea's wedding. It was like herding cats to get them all ready and through security. Well, Joyce hadn't flown for some time and decided to pack a frozen water bottle and her trusty jackknife. Man, was she pissed when they took it away. I was like, you can't fly with a weapon. Knife or frozen water bottle. She got the knife back. We're good. One thing for sure, she loved her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. She was not your typical ooey gooey grandmother or mother. She was the first one to tell you if you fell or hurt yourself, get up. You'll live to be 100 if you don't die first. Shake it off. She had a great joy in the 2 paying jobs she had at the Bay and Tags convenience store. Otherwise, her life was busy with 4 kids, cows, horses, gardening, canning, baking. She could also make a mean pie. Just ask Brendan, who stole one at Thanksgiving dinner and she couldn't find her pie plate for a week. He ate the whole thing. But she had the biggest smile on her face. In 2020, I decided I wanted to learn how to can and make jam, pickles, peaches, etc. My own mother was gone at the time, so I called her up and asked if she'd teach me. She jumped at the chance and gave me all her canning supplies and recipes. There were many phone calls for advice, especially when I screwed up a few batches. I took it as a big compliment when she told me I mastered her pickled onion recipe. I used a few of her favorite recipes in the Doonan reunion cookbook that was coming out this weekend and didn't tell her as I wanted to surprise her. It is going to be very weird for us to not call and check on her or see if she wants some leftovers or hear all about her aches and pains and self-diagnosed ailments. I had 23 Christmases with her, and one of the most memorable was after Glenn died. She wanted all of her kids and grandkids under one roof. So, Tim and I had 18 people, 4 cats, 6 dogs, and a lot of laughing. We played Cards Against Humanity. And Joe had to read his last 3 cards as he won. And what did you say, Joe? I'm a motherfucking sorcerer. Sorry. Man, she laughed and laughed, and Joe, your mom was so happy that day. Made my heart happy for her. When the great-grandkids started arriving, she was so thrilled. She just loved them all, I swear, more than any of us. When Bert and Sophia were born 17 days apart, she had a smile for days and bragging rights to just about anyone who wanted to listen. I have no idea how I came up with the name The Chosen One for me. She even bought me a bracelet one Christmas with it engraved on it. To me, it was the other way around. I felt chosen by her. Rest easy, Mother. Have a shot of vodka up there with that Reenie, your partner and outlaw, as you 2 called each other, and keep those Doonan boys in line. We'll miss you.
Just as I expected, a lot of laughter through that. Thank you so much. One of the tributes that was on Reynars' website was, she was as sharp as a tack, loved our conversations in the post office, and a beautiful lady. I always just like to include those in because it's important to know what people outside of your family thought of your loved one, and she was certainly loved. And I'm just going to take a quick minute to share a story. When Glenn passed away, the family phoned and asked if I would come and meet them at the funeral home and get ready for his service. And so we did that, and as we were leaving, Joyce said to me, "Be sure to say hi to Jughead." And I did not know what she was talking about, but for those of you that don't know, my dad was Ernie Perdowski, and I guess that was her nickname for him. And I really looked forward to getting to my mom and dad's place that afternoon and seeing what kind of reaction I got. He knew right away who sent that greeting. It was from Joyce, and he said, yeah, he had some great stories about her all those years ago. Well, it said that no parent sends a more confusing message than the one who gives good advice while setting a bad example. But the reverse of that is also true. Be the kind of person that you want your child to be. Just keep that in mind. Joyce set a good example for you, her family, in so many ways. She was practical, had common sense, and of course was plain speaking. So I've gathered some practical, common sense quotes that I believe reflect Joyce, and you may recognize some of them or heard them before. Chop your wood, and it will warm you twice. Makes sense, right? This speaks to the fact that Joyce was a hard worker. Good judgment comes from experience, and a lot of that comes from bad judgment. We laugh about that one, but Joyce was intuitive, and as Michelle mentioned in the eulogy, she knew that she didn't want her children to have to move around a lot as she did. And I really appreciated that when Tim shared that with me. That stuck out in his mind, that was important to her. This one probably doesn't need a lot of explanation. Never miss a good chance to shut up. And then do not complain about growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. Joyce had 87 rich, full years. Now, before his death, a very famous writer who I've never heard of, but his name was William Saroyan, telephoned to the newspaper, the Associated Press, where he was working. He had received a terminal diagnosis. And he said to his editor, "Everybody has got to die, but I have always believed an exception would be made in my case. Now what?" Well, I'm sharing that quote because according to Tim, Michelle, and Donna, Joyce was highly optimistic and she didn't think she was old. In Tim's words, losing her driver's license did not go over very well. They also told me that she rode a bike and broke her arm when she shouldn't have been riding a bike. And you'll have to ask Donna about, she took a dog for a walk. I didn't get that whole story, but she shouldn't have been out walking a dog. And of course, we need some gardening quotes, and I chose this one from Margaret Atwood because Joyce was a voracious reader. I don't know if she read Margaret Atwood, but I thought we could quote an author today. "In the spring, at the end of the day, you should smell like dirt. And we come from the earth, we return to the earth, and in between we garden." And we heard all about her gardening. I think that one of Joyce's best qualities was her ability to set her mind to a task and complete it. She was diligent. Why would you go to all of the work to plant a garden, but not preserve the things that you grew so that you could enjoy them in the wintertime? This character trait brings a sense of satisfaction that money cannot buy. If you haven't done any canning, try it. But the best quote that I want to share with you today is from Joyce herself. Tim shared some of her wisdom when we were meeting together that day. And this was something that he knew and understood as a child. If you have something good, share it or put it away. Family, aren't you glad that Joyce shared her life with you? Because that's exactly what she did. She shared her life with those that she loved and cared about. I'm glad she didn't put it away. So we're going to stop now and we are going to enjoy a slideshow.
Well, I was born to coal miner's daughter in a cabin on a hill in Butcher Holler. We were poor, but we had love. That's the one thing that Daddy made sure of. He shoveled coal to make a poor man's dollar. My daddy worked all night in the Bandelier coal mines, all day long in the field hoeing corn. Mommy rocked the babies at night and read the Bible by the coal oil light, and everything would start all over come break of morn. Daddy loved and raised their kids on a miner's pay. Mommy scrubbed our clothes on a washboard every day. Why, I've seen her finger But in the winter time, we'd all get a brand new pair. From a mail order catalog, money made from selling a hog. Daddy always managed to get the money somewhere. Yeah, I'm proud to be a coal miner's daughter. I remember well the well where I drew water. The work we done was hard. At night we'd sleep 'cause we were taught. I never thought of ever leaving Butcher Holler. Well, a lot of things have changed since way back then, and it's so good to be back home again. Not much left but the floor. Nothing lives here anymore except the memories of a coal miner's daughter.
Come and look out through the window. That big old moon is shining down. Tell me now, don't it remind you of a blanket on the ground? Remember back when love first found us? We'd go slipping out of town, and we'd love beneath the moonlight, on a blanket on the ground. I'll get the blanket from the bedroom, and we'll go walking once again to that spot down by the river where our sweet love first began. Just because we are married don't mean we can't slip around. So let's walk out through the moonlight and lay the blanket on the ground. Oh, remember how excited we used to get when love was young. That old moon was our best buddy. We couldn't wait for night to come. Now you know you still excite me. I know you love me like I am. Just once more, I wish you'd love me on a blanket on the ground. I'll get the blanket from the bedroom, and we'll go walking once again to that spot down by the river where our sweet love first began. Just because we are married don't mean we can't slip around. So let's walk out through the moonlight and lay the blanket on the ground.
The sun goes down in Calvin County. Neon lights from an old beer sign shone through the window out on the sidewalk as I walked in to pass the time. I looked around, sat down at a table, ordered beef on rye and a glass of wine, and through the door came a little old lady. She was selling paper roses, and they only cost a dime. Paper roses, paper roses. She sold you paper roses, but they only cost a dime. Silver hair that's lost its gold, trembling hands as she passed a rose, red crepe paper made nature's bouquet. Help a little old lady buy a rose today. I took the rose from her trembling hand. With eyes of age, she smiled and walked away. Like a breath of spring, I could smell the rose. It came alive, and I heard her say, pretty roses, they're only made of paper, but they only cost a dime. I went to look for her outside, a spray of roses lay by her side. The sky lit up and the choir sang 1,000 voices as the church bells rang. They sang roses, paper roses. She sold you paper roses, but they only cost a dime. Paper roses, paper roses. She sold you paper roses, but they only cost a dime.
And a great picture to end with. I know that each one of us want to matter, to be remembered after our passing, to have meant something to someone as we traveled on our earthly journey. And I'm sure Joyce was no different. So I hope that this little story that I will close with will be an encouragement to you today. Back in 2013 in California's Gold Country, a couple taking their dog on his daily walk across their property in a place they called Saddle Ridge, noticed a partially buried can jutting out of the ground. Using a stick, they were able to dislodge the can and decided to carry it back to their house. The can was unusually heavy, but nothing could have prepared them for what they would find when they pried the lid open. Mixed in with the dirt and the stones, they could see the edges of numerous $20 US gold pieces, a literal pot of gold. Repeated trips to the site, and with the help of a metal detector, eventually they uncovered a total of 8 cans filled with over 1,400 rare US gold coins. The face value of the coins totaled $27,980, but was assessed in today's dollars, or those days' dollars, to be worth $10 million. What a remarkable discovery this couple made in their own backyard. In a familiar place that they walked almost daily, just a rusty old can full of coins, but in reality, it was much more than that. Joyce was kind of like that buried treasure. She was familiar. She was a familiar part of your family, a familiar part of your daily lives, a presence that maybe you took for granted. But when you dug a little deeper and pried off the lid and looked inside, you might have found some imperfections and stones, because really, no one's perfect. But if you kept looking, there was treasure to be found. And do you know what that treasure was? Well, it would be different for each one of you sitting here today. But it was the things that she did that endeared her to you. The things that made you smile. That was the treasure. So family, Joyce has touched the lives of many people over the years, and she has left you a truckload, a bountiful garden full of memories. I hope you can review those memories on the difficult days ahead and find some comfort in knowing that she has lived a rich, full life. And we've heard it today in the eulogy and seen it in the pictures. And so I'd like to close with a very sweet poem. I hope that when you remember Joyce, you don't think of her as passed away. Instead, remember the good times you had or the funny things she'd say. Remember her in springtime, how she loved the fragrant breeze. Remember her in summer, as the sunshine kissed her cheeks. Remember her in autumn, how she loved the turning leaves. Remember her in winter, watching snowflakes drift in the breeze. Although Joyce surely loved these things, remember, she loved you all even more. Just think of her as standing and waving goodbye as she goes back in the front porch door. I don't think that will be hard to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you to please rise in honor of Joyce.